The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the show. Brought to you with Levi Solicitors. 10% discount is yours on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the Square Ball. I'm Dan Moylan. Hello. With me is Michael Normanton and Moscow White as well. Daniel Chapman here on the weekly show. TSB Plus next week. We're going to do an extra ball debriefing, deconstructing, demolishing the transfer window, where we'll have a look back at all the signings. It's gone on forever, hasn't it?
It really has. Too long. But not long enough, because we still, as we record, have not bought a fucking striker.
Well, we'll do the full debrief over on the Extra Ball for our TSB Plus members. Details on TSB Plus, by the way. You get merch discounts, you get extra podcasts, you get dedicated feed for ad-free podcasts, daily email from Moscow or Rob these days.
Yeah, sometimes it's good when Rob does it.
Those are the ones I don't delete those ones. Yeah. I've got the filter. To know which one to send to the bin. Squareball.net/plus for details on that. Yes, then. Transfers. It's transfer deadline day. Are you okay?
That's what you need.
Are you firing off the Sky Sports noises again, aren't you?
Yeah.
I've got some electronic noises I could play out if you want, just randomly in the background, just to keep things exciting.
It's dreadful.
Are you
dreadful
sure?
Business.
I mean, it's dead easy.
No. That's fine.
So it is transfer deadline day. We're recording this. It's 12:20. Just to timestamp it, because who knows? It's a fast moving day, isn't it? It's so fast paced that nobody can keep up.
It's a fast moving jet coming back from Eindhoven.
Yeah. We should say that we are recording the Phil Hay show later on this afternoon, where we'll get the inside story from Phil Hay about what is happening. What's fun with that one is that, again, that will come out probably after the deadline is closed. Minutes after the window slams shut at midnight.
So you're getting not one out-of-date podcast this week, but two.
Aren't you lucky? Phil knows what's going on, though. He doesn't tell us.
He's got his list, hasn't he, Phil?
Yeah.
He's known all along.
He got given it like late May when we signed Brendan Aronson, wasn't it? Like we signed him, and these are the rest that we're going to get. So Bamba Dieng, the latest name to emerge as a forward player.
He's my whole world.
Well, we've just indulged in some. I'm not saying we've just looked at it on YouTube. We've obviously been scouting him for a while.
Yeah.
What did you make of the YouTube highlights that you watched for Check's Notes? What is it, 5 minutes? No, 8 minutes, the video. Sorry, 8 minutes. Just long enough to qualify for ads on YouTube, that is.
Genuinely, what I did notice is he does a lot of tracking back. Mm-hmm. There was loads of that on the on a highlights reel, which isn't actually what you expect from a striker.
He seemed to score every time as well.
He did.
Yeah, very good.
He did. He tended to score on the clips they'd chosen.
One of them was the Ligue 1 goal of the season.
There you go.
Overhead kick.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Well, he won.
No, you were out of the room when that was on. Yeah, at the start of the clip. Yeah, looked good. Did that?
He actually hasn't scored that many.
Well, no.
His record overall is 46 appearances and 9 goals. It'd be nice if that was the other way around.
He's a young man, though, isn't he? That's the thing.
He's 22.
So I suspect they're not all starts.
Sub appearances and comes on and thinking, why am I playing with all these idiots?
Yeah, so last season you played 972 minutes and scored 7 in Ligue 1. So what's that? 972 divided by 7. 138 minutes to score a goal.
That's fine.
Lads, I've found a flaw in this plan. It's the World of Football YouTube channel that puts these out. It's the videos where as soon as a player is linked, they go up and change the thumbnail, don't they? The artwork.
They are very swift.
Yeah, welcome to insert club name here. But they also do like a little assessment at the start of their video, saying what strengths and weaknesses are, which is what we're all about. When we preview games, we go into like whoscored.com's strengths and weaknesses. Strengths: acceleration, off the ball, technique, work rate, bravery. Weaknesses: concentration. Can't stay focused, can he? And he's finishing 4 out of 10.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
I've forgotten. Sorry, his name will come back to me. Yes, Bamba Dieng.
Who Scored do have his strengths and weaknesses, in fact. Is that where they've got it from?
Maybe.
No, it's different. He's very strong at finishing. Good. Strong at key passes, and strong, as you spotted from the YouTube highlights, at his defensive contribution gets as strong from Who Scored.
I'm a scout, basically. That's why we're in for him.
Basically it. Yeah. He's weak at holding onto the ball. He's also weak at crossing and passing. But that doesn't matter. He likes to cut inside, which is good when we're playing narrow with the old inverted wingers. He likes to play short passes, but he's also weak at them. So I don't know how that works.
Have you seen Who Scored's assessment of Dan James?
Well, hold on. He's a counter-attack threat, and he loves a tackle.
There you go.
It actually says likes to tackle, but better if you say it as he loves a tackle.
He looked a little bit from the clip, actually. If I was to liken him to any player we have, a little bit like Joe Gelhardt in the way that he's got, even though I think he's a bit bigger than him, but he looks like he's got that sort of low centre of gravity look to him where he sort of sways about a lot at a low level and looks confusing for defenders.
Well, Fabrizio was reporting just 7 or 8 minutes ago.
Don't just refer to him by a forename.
He sent us a DM.
Who are we talking about?
Fabrizio Ravanelli.
Yeah, Fabrizio Romano. He sent us a DM after I called him.
Was it a nice DM? No. So we use his full name and we don't give him any credit.
Romano has tweeted suggesting that we've had a bid accepted by Olympic Marseille, and it's about 10 million euro.
Other people are reporting that he wants to go to Lorient on loan.
Isn't that where
French
we got Melier from?
Yes.
Don't go those chumps. They don't know talent there, do they?
Sounds like it's on, lads. By the way, this is exciting. But you're basically now listening to me read Twitter on a podcast.
Right. Well, if we are signing a striker, then why did Angus do those programme notes?
I mean, it does seem like the very definition of a warm body that we've just gone out and we couldn't get Hwang, we couldn't get Gakpo, so we got this guy. Like, yes. Should we play? I felt Wisconsin Todd sent in his opinion on the program notes, and I feel like he got to the nub of the matter quite quickly.
I do enjoy the English tradition of program notes. There's no equivalent of them here in the States because it's really strange for us that they allow themselves to publicly put their foot in their mouths the way they do. Angus, just stop. Hire a ghostwriter, do some other shit, do anything. But no one likes the smartest guy in the room, especially one who tries to prove it by writing some of the dumbest imaginable shit. Don't insult the intelligence of Leeds fans who know better by mansplaining to us that we have 2 international number 9s, one of which has 1 more cap than I do. To use an American Southern phrase, that dog don't hunt. Come correct, stop the bullshit, and help this squad get better.
That dog don't hunt.
He does. Todd gets right down to the heart of it there, because the frustration with what Angus put in the programme on Tuesday is that I am actually probably a bit of an outlier as a Leeds fan, because I don't actually care if we sign a striker or not. I'm more bothered about a left back. I'm not pissed off about it at all. And when you get down to it, the policy and the strategy is actually, I think it's fine when you say we are keeping an eye on players who are available, but we are not going to sign somebody for the sake of it. We only want to sign somebody who we think is really good. That's all right. I think that's a perfectly reasonable approach, and you can agree with it, disagree with it, but that's okay. But that's all it really comes down to. There's nothing much more special about it than that. But Angus cannot help himself from putting it in these terms of the rationale is straightforward. We believe we have 3 striking options. We will only supplement this with an exceptional addition. There is a huge opportunity cost and making high-risk investments, and then ending by Leeds United, our best place to judiciously capitalise. And he plays...
Can I just say, Moscow, as well, the bit you left off at the start there was that he mentioned some fans being perplexed.
Yeah, he plays his... dictionary corner word of the week game, and then wonders why nobody understands what the fuck he's talking about, and ends up with these kind of he sounds more frustrated than anybody that nobody understands Leeds United's brilliant strategy. It's because he keeps explaining it in this, as Wisconsin said, this smug, I don't think he used the word smug, but there's a smugness comes through of like, okay, mansplaining is what Todd said. Okay, well, let me explain it to you all one last time. We are well placed to judiciously capitalise. And most people, as soon as you start saying that, are going to go, what are you talking about, judiciously capitalise? Just say, we can sign a player. We are looking for a player. We haven't ruled out signing somebody, but we're only going to sign somebody who is good. Instead, he spends there's only 3 paragraphs I've got here because I cut a big load out. It goes through about 300 words to say something that needs saying in a sentence, and it's his mistake is using his program notes consistently to try and be clever instead of using them to clearly explain, and they just wind people up. The net result of this, if he doesn't think that describing Pat Bamford and Rodrigo as proven international number 9s. If he's typing that without thinking people are going to read that and take issue with it, then he does probably need to stop doing it, because the net result is just annoying more people. He could just say...
He's overplaying his hand, isn't he?
Exactly. He could just say, we think the strikers we've got are good. We're looking for another one, but we're only going to sign another one if we think they're really good as well. Simple. But instead of there's 2 proven international number 9s, leaves far too many holes as well, because of course Pat Bamford is not a proven international. You could say he's a proven number 9 who is also an international, but that's where it comes down to there's a bit of a rule which he always breaks with his dictionary corner game of you shouldn't use words that you don't understand the meaning of, because you'll get caught out. And it feels like there's a possibility that's just a badly constructed sentence where he said he maybe means we have 2 proven number 9s who are internationals. And you would say that, yeah, Pat Bamford proved that he's of international quality by getting a cap, but he's not a proven international. But his dexterity with words is not skillful enough to be able to carry off these program notes consistently without the result being people are annoyed. And if you're consistently annoying people this way, then there is the time then to be quiet. And then we come on to the fact that, the warm body line is just... You can't put a full stop on that and think as the chief executive, I'll publish that and all the fans will love it. Because it's instantly just another phrase to beat him with. Why do it to yourself?
And on the international thing as well, between them in the last 2 years, they have Bamford has 1 hour in one appearance for England. Rodrigo has 2 appearances off the bench, total in about an hour.
Yeah.
So an hour each of international football in the last 2 years does not make them international strikers. I know Rodrigo was, for a time, a genuine Spanish international. He's not anymore.
And you could make the point much more easily without leaving it open to the kind of, because there's an element of pedantry, but it's justified by just saying, we believe in the players we've got. But if we can find another one to supplement them, we will. That is still an option, but we'll only sign one if we think they're really good. Fine. That's not a bad way to be in my book. But then the warm immediately. It's what is it? It's less than 48 hours since we've read those program notes, and already we seem to be chasing warm bodies all over Europe. So that's the other thing as well, is that he puts all this effort into pissing people off before the match, and then it's immediately out the window as soon as Rodrigo's shoulder pops.
I was going to say it's a conversation possibly for the Phil Hay show, this one, because I want to get Phil's thoughts on it as well. But about the messaging that's come out of the club about transfers towards the end of the window, it seems like they were very organised at the start, and then as the window's worn on, it's just become more muddled and confused, and Jesse Marsh is saying one thing and Kinnear's saying another, and you just don't quite know where it's all heading.
I do think that Rodrigo injury was the absolute worst thing that could have happened to these programme notes as well, because within half an hour of the game, of everyone reading them and the game beginning, everyone went, that's why we need another striker, because he's always fucking injured, and so is Bamford. The reason neither of them are international strikers anymore is because neither of them can stay fit or put together any kind of run of form in Rodrigo's case at the end of last season. But anyway, we're signing someone now, so it's fine.
The window is still open. Well, he may still end up at Lorient on loan, so...
maybe some other warm bodies that we've yet to hear of.
He's Senegalese. Surely we can give him the Diouf tour. So look at this, your hero played it. You see that corner there? That's where your hero pointed his arse at some Brighton fans.
He grabbed his cock.
He's grabbed his cock, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Front, not back.
I'm misremembering my homophobic slurs, whatever it was that he was adjudged to have done.
We could get a bunch of kids to dress up to meet him.
God.
Just as one met Diouf,
sweet baby
at the ground. That'll get this deal over the line.
The Diouf times.
Oh dear Lord!
Didn't Diouf also have £100,000 to his charity in the accounts one year as well?
Yes, he was on a. I think it was. I don't know if it was to justify, like we were saying, his wage was low or something, but it was definitely a separate item in the accounts that we had donated £100,000 to the Alhaj Diouf Foundation for good works.
Hey, I've got to live translating now. This is exciting, isn't it? This is, I would say, thanks to Sam, who is at HumDummyDum on Twitter, who has just tweeted us tagged us in it, saying this is a fantastic summary from a Marseille fan on the feelings of them about this potential transfer. It puts 30 on Minot, M-I-N-O-T, Minot. Presume that's a player, a value of 30 on Minot, who does not have a match in League 1, and 10 on Dieng. We are pigeons.
Okay.
I mean, that's the other thing is
Does that mean they're undervaluing him?
No clubs fans are happy about transfers, are they?
I mean,
it's one of the problems with the window and its presentation.
I assume from that you saw the Spurs fans' reaction to signing Dan James, which was universally. It was almost grief they were suffering at having theoretically parted with 20 million quid for him, from what I could see on Twitter.
That's what I was going to say. I mentioned before is on WhoScored.com, no significant strengths, bless him.
Unfair.
Which is just, it's calculated by an algorithm as well, so let's just caveat it with that, poor thing.
I hope he stays and becomes our player of the season. I like Dan.
Absolutely. Sean's been in touch then. Should we hear from Sean?
Go on then.
Just reflecting on last night's Everton game, and I can kind of do that in 4 words. Buy a fucking striker.
It's happening now though, isn't it, potentially?
It is potentially.
Bamba Dieng.
I mean,
would Cody Gakpo have solved this problem?
No, probably not. The deal seemed to be that Dan James was going out and he was coming in, which I could live with because they are the same-ish kind of position. So that sort of made sense. It didn't actually resolve the problem of left-back or striker, which would remain problems, but it was, I guess, trading a player who was potentially better than the one we've got. How did you feel about Dan James leaving as a potential? Because I really, really struggle to care at all.
Just, I'd miss him.
Would you?
Not as a footballer. Like I sense he has limitations, but he's quite young, isn't he? Is he 22?
He's 24 or 25 now, isn't he?
Okay. I think. He's getting on a bit.
He's a man, Moscow. He's a man.
He's 24 and he'll be 25 soon. I don't know. I feel like.
So he's 25 is what you're saying? Or is he 24 until he's 25?
He's 24 until he's 25. That's a fact. He's versatile. He's cute.
All right.
He just seems like a nice lad.
He does seem like a nice lad.
He was the first on your Gary Speedwalk to send a video.
He was.
Yep.
Wishing you all well, and that was good of him. And probably in the cold-hearted world of the Premier League, things like that shouldn't amount to anything. But he just seems like a nice guy, and he's not a terrible player. He's had no real chance to kind of... we talked about Rodrigo not building up any form, and James playing striker, coming off the bench to play this position, that position. I don't know. But then I also don't know at what point he'll ever get that chance, because Sinisterra immediately looks better, and Jackie Harrison is just in incredible form at the moment. But the other thing is squad. Like, if we did let him go, we're almost tempting the fates of like Sinisterra, immediate ACL. Harrison will just become too handsome to play, and we'll need him.
I think with Dan James, I feel a bit sorry for him, like on a human level, because I did a thing in the mag. It was about the sale of Rafinha and buying Sinisterra, and how it was almost like a perfect representation of consumerism, because Barcelona are completely caught up on new shiny things, and we've got a new shiny thing in Sinisterra to get all interested in. And it feels a little bit like that with Dan James, because we coveted him for so long, so long, and then we got him a year ago, and it's like, I don't want him now on a new one.
I was going to say, a year ago we did sit here and I'll go. If Bielsa seems to really want him, so fine, he can have him, because we want Bielsa to be happy, and he chased him for so long, but I didn't really think we needed him. And I think partly as well, we would look at his time at Scum and we'd say, oh well, Solskjaer's a shit manager, of course he's not done well there, it's a dreadful sort of atmosphere, it's quite toxic there as a club. He'll come to Leeds, we've seen what Bielsa's done with Luke Ayling and Pat Bamford and Stuart Dallas, and he's gonna turn him into this machine, and he's gonna be all of a sudden getting 15 goals a year, and his pressing's gonna be unbelievable. And it's never really happened, has it?
And yet, Antonio Conte thinks he can do something with him at Spurs.
Is he like a nice boy version of a bad boyfriend? Like everyone thinks they can change him. They all see good in him, but then they're like, oh well, I can just get him to do this or that. And the other thing with someone like Spurs is, I suppose, they could buy him for like special teams as just someone really quick to bring off the bench.
I think it comes down, but we've seen that doesn't really work. I think sometimes it comes down to that factor of low maintenance, high performance. Performance isn't the highest, but I don't get the impression that Dan James causes a lot of trouble. And it can kind of, with the way that the stories are being presented, that he doesn't really want to leave. He's happy to stay at Leeds. If he turns up every day, trains really hard, will play any position and not grumble, and always gets like, I don't think he's ever had a terrible game. He doesn't make the impact you're wanting him to. So he's delivering 6 out of 10 every time you put him in the team. Managers love having players like that around the place who are just not going to kick off and not going to cause them a problem. And when you are talking about building a squad, there's a place for players like Dan James in it. So I think we'd lose something by letting him go. We just don't necessarily get a huge impact from having him here, but it's mid-table life, I guess.
And Fulham are in for him as well, which is probably the kind of level he'd get in.
Probably the kind of level we're at as well, if Fulham stay up comfortably.
I mean, it's a shame, really, isn't it, that he never got a pre-season under Bielsa. Come to think of it, he was very much a Bielsa man, signed for him because he had a real thing. He had a bit of an obsession about him, didn't he? And he came in long after last year's pre-season, and Bielsa only got 6 months with him. And now we're doing a different, and he got played out of position for basically all of that. And now different coach, different ideas. They're obviously willing to trade him because they think he doesn't fit the system as well as perhaps Bielsa did.
I'm just not sure he's that good in tight spaces, which is what our system now seems to be kind of based upon, is that it's all really crowded around the edge of the box, and Harrison's got a really nice touch. Sinistera seems to be able to do it. Aronson can do it. I'm just not sure where Dan James necessarily fits into it.
He's probably at his best as a non-scoring striker. Press from the front, use his pace to upset defenders, like go running from one to the other, doing those doggies. And then it was that goal.
You say doing those doggies?
That's what they're called, isn't it? He just running. And that goal he scored against Brisbane, where he just smacked it in, you thought, oh, brilliant. That's what we want Dan James to do. If he had that instinct to just smack the ball and it goes in, he'd be amazing. But he can contribute. If he stays, I'll be very happy. But I won't be like predicting he's going to be player of the season or something. I just think he's a good player to have.
Would you swap him for a good left back or a good striker?
Can't I just have a good left back?
Nope, there's not money for it. There was only money for Charlie the Kettle.
See, I'm sort of bemused. I said before, I'm not bothered about a new striker. I don't know why everybody's fixated on striker and we've forgotten about left back when we only have one and he's injured.
And when you say we only have one in the club,
it's Junior Firpo.
Is what it means as well. It's not we only have one first teamer. We only have one.
That's it. Because the worst case scenario, the way I feel about strikers sometimes, and I'll say it because I feel like I'm presenting a different point of view. I'm not trying to be contrary, but we have Bamford, Rodrigo, Gelhardt. If they're all out, Dan James can do it. Sam Greenwood was a striker.
Can Dan James do it though?
Well, he'll fill a hole for a few games.
I know he'll play there, but can he actually do it?
And then we have Matteo Joseph and we have Sonny Perkins. Sonny Perkins, who's come because he's not been getting a chance at West Ham. And I sometimes, it comes from me with this feeling like I don't like 5 subs from 9 as an option because I think it makes football too easy and too boring. Used to be that, if a player gets injured, oh, well, what are we going to do? Who's going to play? That's going to be interesting to find out. And you just go, like on Tuesday night's a perfect example. Rodrigo's injured, so we bring Gelhardt on, and then we've had enough of him, we bring Bamford on. So at the moment, we had 3 strikers in 90 minutes who were all good players. So it all feels a little bit easy. And I would actually be more interested, if you told me on Saturday, if we turned up to Brentford and Matteo Joseph was playing, that would be amazing. Because he'd come from Spain in January, knocking the goals in the under-21s, and now he's having his Premier League debut for Leeds United. He could either be a hero or a failure. That, to me, would be exciting and interesting and give us a reason to kind of tune into a match instead of like just doing the duty of just, oh, well, the game's on, so we have to watch it. It feels sometimes like we're paying coaches a lot more money and giving them far fewer things to do when they can just go, well, I've got 4 strikers, so I'll just play one of them.
And obviously that makes it even easier for the clubs that have got all the resources as well.
Exactly. So I just feel like as a principle, it's a bad way for...
It's an anti-competitive measure, isn't it?
Things to be going. And I would like... It's not I don't care about pathways particularly. It's not our job to make to give Sonny Perkins a career. But I don't think it's the worst thing that would ever happen to a football club if we had to play Joseph or Perkins. It would be fun. It would be interesting. And also, we would have to have a very severe injury crisis for that to happen, as we saw last season. Left back is a different thing because we don't even have one on the under 21s. And so that would be my concentration, is at least get a backup left back or an improvement on Firpo, particularly given how important the fullbacks are to the way Jesse Marsch wants to play. I think we could get away with putting somebody like Dan James in at number 9 for however many games we have to. But I feel like going through a season with only one left back who was started injured feels like much more of a risk. So I'm kind of in the mood that
get them all.
All the anger is a bit misplaced at the moment in this furious pursuit of warm-bodied strikers across Europe. I'd like to see that energy applied to left back.
Well, Moscow, the day is yet young. Many hours left. Who knows what can happen? What we do know is that somebody who is heading to Spain, Mateusz Bogus, back to Ibiza for his nice life on the island in the sun.
Yeah, I felt sorry for him.
He's going to do another season
when he got injured and he had to come back. I thought, poor lad. It was Instagram was just full of him on beaches and boats, and then you saw all the other poor saps we sent off to the bloody West Coast to just suffer in Morecambe and Fleetwood and places like that. You think, get the Ibiza move. That's the one for you.
Edmondson ended up permanently in Carlisle, didn't he? Bless him. And then, but Bogus is just like skipped a year and then go back to, he's restarted the game, hasn't he?
Fly in for nightclubs in summer over the winter months, playing for the football team. What a bloody nice life.
But it feels a lot like he's never going to play for us.
No. I think
which is a shame because there's hope. There was a lot of hype around him at one stage.
Polish Messi.
Yeah.
Click said he was better than him, which maybe was modesty on Click's part.
Just being nice, wasn't he?
Maybe he was just being nice.
Hey, when it comes to the youth, we beat Forest 5-1, didn't we? The 21s. Didn't watch this. Did you watch it? Did you catch any of this?
I watched the first half. Turned it off just before we equalised, which was good because I had to go out. First half, basically, we just were absolutely battering them. It was a bit like the Everton game, in fact. We were battering them, then they had 2 really good chances where they just went up the other end and scored one, almost scored another. And then I've since watched the highlights back, and we just battered them second half. The goalkeeper had a little bit of a meltdown. JB had a shot that went straight under him, and then he was flapping at some other stuff. And by the time Dean was scoring the 5th, he was really hesitantly coming out. He was coming out like a fucking Mary, as Howard Wilkinson would say, for a ball, and it just got there last. But
there's another striker, Max Dean.
See,
we've got loads of them.
Put Max Dean in.
Well, with reference to one of the other ones, I do wonder how close Sonny Perkins is to like a proper first team squad place.
He looks very good. Him and Joseph both look really good in there, and also JB looks really promising as well from the bits we've seen.
Imagine if we had Alfie McCalmont at left back.
We did have poor Alfie McCalmont at left back. The thing is, he's not going to be sticking around either, is he? He's probably looking for a loan move. And if any scouts are there, they got to turn up and watch him playing left back.
He was
just a bit of a shame.
Photographed the weekend before at Oldham. He was back at Boundary Park watching their match, and even though they're in the National League now, and their fans seemed to think they were signing him permanently, and couldn't believe it. They were like, I can't believe we're getting a player of that quality in the National League. And then he's playing left back for our under-21s the next couple of days later.
We did it for our charity walk, but imagine going to Oldham voluntarily.
It's a fine place, and they've got a character of a chairman now, haven't they, as well?
Michael, there was a stabbing when we were there.
It was a murder, actually. That's what it was. There was someone from the group did encounter someone who had been stabbed as well. It's part of the same incident or something. I don't know. It seemed a bit sketchy in parts.
Yeah,
is what I will say.
Imagine when we walked past Boundary Park, didn't we, on the morning after we were setting off from Oldham that night?
Yes, it's a lovely spot.
Very scenic.
Well, I hope Alfie gets to go somewhere and play in central midfield, because I think that's probably what he wants.
On to Leeds Women, and our sympathies go to Chris Bennett, family of Chris Bennett and friends as well, who's the chairman of Leeds Women, who's passed away, that the club mentioned. It was on the website, wasn't it? They tweeted out about this. How did the women get on in the most recent game?
Well, there's been 2 games since the last show. They lost one disgracefully, but then they did beat Stockport County.
Passmore out.
That's what I was yelling. They did beat Stockport County ladies 4-0. One of the goals in particular had real Llorente vibes to it. The keeper tried rolling it out, and one of the players was tying the laces.
No!
And then we score.
That's brilliant.
It was so that was good to watch.
There was the sending off and the brawl in the game the other week. I can't remember who the opponent was.
That was Hull.
Yeah.
Yes. I think there may footage may exist of it. It wasn't on LUTV, but I know someone who was at the game who claims to have recorded it. So I'm going to try and get hold of the recording. It's like there's a Zapruder tapes, isn't it? This like unmasking the JFK.
If it incriminates any Leeds players, just let it lie.
But it'll just be audio only, so you'll probably just hear a lot of swearing, probably from our very own fullback that we.
Why would it be audio only? What's going on?
On a podcast, if we're playing a clip, like we play the clips.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you meant that's all they'd captured. If they were just at the women's game recording sounds, were they doing
we could distort voices. We can
ambient recording going on.
Yeah, and I hope our sweary fullback, Olivia Smart, is involved swearing.
Hopefully.
She is very good at it, isn't she? And we're proud to sponsor her. And that wraps up the news half of this then. We've got a Brentford preview on the way, and we'll pick the week's heroes and villains too as well, so look out for that in your feed.
The Square Ball Podcast.